In 1978, check that, it was actually 1979, I fell in love with two women. I married one, and the other dumped me. January in Cincinnati is not exactly the best time of year, so I decided to go to our little English pub in Mount Adams. The pub is hip, Mount Adams is hip. I don't know why I was there, but there we were. The English pub is called the Blind Lemon, and just above the din of the noise, you could hear the piped-in music. I sat down, and next to me was this really attractive, funny, smart-looking, sharp young woman. She was wearing a red scarf which highlighted her black hair. I decided to start up the conversation the way guys always do. What's your name? My name is Cindy Berryman. What do you do? I'm a professor at the University of Cincinnati. Where are you from? I'm from Westport, Massachusetts, by way of Fall River. Yeah? Well, on behalf of the people of this bar, I want to welcome you to the city of Cincinnati. She was so unimpressed. But she gave me her phone number anyway. Jackpot! Well, only 8 months later, after we fanned the flames of our romance, it was time for me to meet Cindy's mother. We went off to Westport, Massachusetts. I don't know if I can say this in the South, but Yankee magazine calls Westport the best hidden gem of all of New England. No hotels, no fast food restaurants, and hopefully for their sake, no tourists. You go into Westport and you see mile upon mile of beach and shoreline. You see vast open fields. It's the largest landmass of any town in Massachusetts. So, what do you do with all that land, all that expansive shoreline, and only 6,000 people? Well, you farm and you shop, you fish for lobsters. Cindy wanted to show me Main Road and the town pier, or as they say there, the town pier. So we went down Main Road, but I needed my triangle hat, because if you look to the left, you see this old house with a sign that said, Benjamin Franklin Davis, Minuteman, 1776. You look at the other side, and you see another sign that said, James Earl and William Bailey, gentlemen. Massachusetts, progressive then and progressive now. Then it was time to meet Cindy's mother, Elizabeth Gertrude Hannon Berryman. Just call her Gerty. Gerty saw us coming, and atypical for New Englanders, she got really emotional and excited. She ran out and she grabbed me, and she grabbed Cindy, and she welcomed us into her home. Now, when Gerty welcomed you into her house, there was one rule. When she says, you want a beer? You better say sure. If you don't, you're out of there. Well, Gerty was short, by my standards short, by your standards really short. She had alabaster hair atop her head. She either looked like a Q-tip or Granny Clampett minus the cement pond. Gerty had this wrinkled skin because of the sun and the salt water. But underneath that skin beat the heart of a party animal and the toughest broad I've ever met. So we go into Gerty's house, and I look around, and on the red wallpapered walls, there's only two photos, two pictures. Pope John the 23rd and the Pope of Massachusetts, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. That was it. Cindy told me that her mother kind of liked practical jokes, so knowing that there's no fast food restaurants, I said to her, hey Gerty, we were down at the town pier and they said they're going to be building a McDonald's there. She said, yeah, hope they don't ruin the sunbathing down there. And that was it. We had a few beers. Okay, we had a lot of beers. We talked and we kidded around. It was like I had known Gerty my whole life because Gerty had that knack. It was about a year later where Cindy and I came back to Westport, but this time we were going to get married in Tiverton, as you would all say, or Tiverton, as they say up there. Tiverton, Rhode Island. Westport borders Rhode Island, and the town next to Westport and Fall River is Tiverton, Rhode Island. So, the night before was the rehearsal dinner. My father, who was kind of a somewhat pompous kind of guy, said, I welcome you all to the wedding of my son, John, and his new bride, Cindy. And I said, Dad, it's Chuck, not John. And he said, I brought this little tape recorder because I want you all to record your well wishes to my son and my future daughter-in-law. I thought, this is a really bad idea, but 37 years later, I'm so glad we have that tape. It's the only tape we have of Gerty's voice. He said, as matriarch of the family, Gerty, we want you to go first. And she said, what, is this another joke? That Chuck is always pulling tricks on me. I don't know if this is real or not. And she was assured that it was. And then she took the recorder, and she looked at it like she was a quality control inspector, looking it upside down and all the way through. And then, in a typical New England economy of word style, she just said, Chuck, Cindy, good luck. And that was it. The next day was the wedding. Now, Cindy's father, Elmer, had died in 1967. So there was only one person to walk her down the aisle, and it was Gerty. And folks, you should have been there. There's these two Berryman women almost skipping down the aisle, laughing and having a great time. It was pure Berryman, and we loved it. That night, oh, that night was so special. Gerty was having the time of her life. She was dancing with everybody, kidding around with everybody, and we all loved it because we knew that Gerty was in stage 4 of colorectal cancer. Autumn in New England is like nothing else. It radiates beauty. But that day in October, we've just been married 2 months. Cindy had been calling her mother every single day. This day, Cindy got off the phone. My mother, I don't want her to die alone. She's really doing badly. And I grabbed her, I said, baby doll. I still call her baby doll. I said, baby doll, Gerty's coming to live with us. But the truth was, Gerty was coming to die with us. Gerty, well, Cindy and I had defined rules. Cindy was to care for her mother in terms of medical and incredibly physical needs. Awesome physical needs. I, on the other hand, was Gerty's drinking buddy. There you go. Thank you. And Gerty and I had a great time. I started every morning by saying, hey, Gert, how you doing? And her answer every single day was, I can't complain. To the day before she died, I can't complain. I used to still play practical jokes on Gerty. I would say, hey, Gerty, it's 75 degrees and it's January. Can you believe that? And she said, yeah. Wow. That was it. We said, Gerty, this is 3 days before she died. Gerty, you have morphine that the doctor prescribed. It's on your nightstand. Please take it. Nah, I don't want to become an addict. But then there was a Thursday night, and she whispered to me, I'd like a beer. Let me say that a little louder. I'd like a beer. Well, the problem was Gerty couldn't drink from a straw, from a glass, from a cup, from a bottle. Like lightning, I ran to the bathroom, and like a thief, I rifled through the drawers and the cabinets, and I found it. I found it. And I grabbed the beer, and I went back, and I took that eyedropper, and I put it in the beer, and put it on Gerty's lips. And she died that night. Gerty had 2 wishes. One, she expressed to her best friend, Ann. She says, I don't want to die until my younger daughter, Cindy, gets married. And like everything else, she kept her word. Her other wish was to be cremated and to have her ashes spread along her favorite beach in Westport. It was a brutally cold day in March in Massachusetts. It was coastal Massachusetts weather. It was frigid. Joining us was Anne and Cindy's sister Pauline. Oh, it's so cold. Let's get over this and get back in. And then there was Gerty's brother, Nick. Nick would say stuff like, "Hey, you see that fellow over there? Yeah? Yeah, he pulled a 7. A 7? What do you mean, Nick? Well, you know when your legs are straight out and your toes are up and you're dead? That's a 7. Nick was affiliated with the mob around Providence. I volunteered to spread Gerty's ashes. Cindy gave me her mother's favorite beach hat. I tossed it in the ocean after walking on a jetty. And then I took those ashes, and with as much love and compassion and that I could stir up, I knelt down, spread the ashes, when a huge wave came up and tossed me into the ocean. Cindy and everybody say, "Oh boy, it's terrible, come on back, you're gonna catch a death of cold, we gotta get you inside." I stood up and laughed my ass off. Gerty got the last laugh on it. We're not done yet. Because in 1979, I fell in love with 2 women. I married one, and the other one threw me and dumped me into the frigid Atlantic. And I'm so glad she did. Thank you all.